A little overcast and very comfortable on this 38th day of the meet, and we hope you're tied on for the final Friday, final weekend getting underway of our 40-day stint here in Miami Gardens. Some clouds, a little blue sky, and a nice little breeze here in South Florida. And there was a major breeze as Ronnie and Jason join all of you. And a hearty good afternoon, everybody, from our clubhouse studios. But Paco, what about the whirlwind that was Paco Lopez here yesterday afternoon? He got the gold star as far as the riding colony went, and an updated look at the standings with his four-bagger on Thursday.
Yeah, 4 wins, and we were joking earlier today, and I said to Christian Torres, of course, on the air, watch out, Paco's coming. Who knew he was going to win 4 in a day? Because he's really an excellent rider. And he rode that last race, the 3-horse. I know who you like.
Yep.
He got up just in time with that horse. Good performance.
Yeah, absolutely. You rarely see Paco making mistakes or really having like a tactical gaffe. Of just a very smart rider, and maybe rides a little unorthodox as far as, you know, his finish and all that stuff, but horses obviously run for him, native of Mexico, and he'll square off once again with Christian and Omisael. Paco, by the way, first rides in today's second race for trainer Joe Orsino. Obviously, we're coming down to the final 3 cards. We run 8 here today, and then we have back-to-back 9s on both Saturday and Sunday. And with this third to final program, can't help but remind everybody, and rightfully so, the championship meet in just a week's time is right around the corner.
Yeah, next Friday, a week from today, actually.
Yeah.
So a week from today, it'll be opened up, and you got to come and join us across town. I went over there a few times the last couple of days, and boy, that turf course is looking good.
No, it looks great. Stopped up on the roof, and I'm going to tweet out. I took a little video. I'm going to send that out later today, and just the plant looks great. The main, the turf all look pristine and ready for action, and we hope you can join us the day after Thanksgiving, next Friday, November 29th. And with closing weekend, obviously, and this is kind of a newer tradition here as far as the game is concerned in the United States, but in many of these jackpot pools or on closing days anyway, you've got the mandatory type payouts in the popular multi-race wagers. None more important, Ronnie, this coming Sunday than that jackpot Rainbow Six.
Yeah, we're going to see if it's last. We're starting last. We're starting today with just about $1 million in that pool. We got Friday, Saturday, and it'll be mandatory on Sunday. Now, even if it's hit today or tomorrow, it's still mandatory payouts and everything because that's the state law. You got to give all the money away before the new meeting starts.
And just averaging out Sunday's action with that 9-race program and an early post, by the way. We'll have some reminders as we get a good look and a live look, in fact, at the carryover situation with about 982 Gs in today's race 3 start of the Rainbow Six. But a 12:30, an early post time here Sunday afternoon for Getaway Day. Do note that. And the bulk of the races, Ronnie, or at least as far as the sheer numbers are concerned, it's about 10 horses, high 9s per race in that 4th to race 9 sequence on closing day. I know you're going to have a Rainbow Six ticket coming up a bit later as we chase $1 million plus in the Friday, November 22nd sequence. And why don't we just get right down to it, fast and firm, by the way, and kicking things off with the early pick 5. This was a race, Ronnie, the first. Scratches are nearly as big a pre-race subject as who maybe you like. I mean, the scratches in here are notable.
Yeah, I mean, the 1, 2, and 9, and those were the 3 of the logical contenders in the race. The 2 was the morning line favorite in there, so things changed around. You know, I want to see your ticket because I had a horse that was on top that's still on top right now, and I knew you would use in Volunteer Navy. That's the one I actually liked this afternoon, but big scratch in there of the 2, Big City Ralph and the 1-horse Skybridge on the inside. And I know you also, I think, used the 9 on your ticket.
Yeah, no, I my top selections, at least as far as press time, Ronnie and I obviously write for the program and the website and have to have our selections done a couple of days in advance. Yeah, no, scratches decimated my original opinion in this upcoming first, but I'm in good company here. Having Ronnie's top pick for Ralph Nixon Christian, I also included the 8. You Go, I Go, who I think will like 6 on the dirt against a field of this caliber at about 125. 3 deep in the second, nothing really out of the ordinary there. To me, that race is about the pace, mainly concerning the number 3, Our Boy Bodie. My single is housed, and you picked him as well, and I'll be shocked if he's not favored. I think he's way the horse to beat. Love Tangible's last start off the claim for Peter Walder.
Yeah, it's Peter Walder, and ridden by red-hot Paco Lopez. I think that's a logical single in there. I used to count out in queue, and Mr. Sense on my ticket. But I was a little confused with that race because I didn't know what to do with the 4-horse in that race.
Right, Blue Sky Kitten.
Which I think is the morning line favorite. So I actually went deeper in that race. We'll talk about that when we get to my Rainbow Six.
Sure, sounds good. Now, in discussing and chatting about this upcoming Friday opener, a $12,500 two-year-old maiden claimer, which now features post-scratches, a field of 7 on the main track. To me, this could be in your original top pick, but I'm going to join you, Ronnie, on the boat here. I mean, you're talking well-connected, second-time starter, good numbers here for Ralph Nix. The 6 Volunteer Navy has a lot going for him.
Yeah, this one to drop it to the 12-5 level after failing to get in track. That was against those 35 state-bred maidens in its 6th furlong debut. So I looked up a stat on Ralph Nix with his 2-year-olds making their second start, all claimers on the dirt. He's 10 for 31, 32%, 65% in the money. 141 is the return of investment. I mean, I had the 1 and 2 right underneath Volunteer Navy, but I was trying. I thought this would be a logical contender in the opener, and of course up there right now at a good 4 to 5. 4 to 1.
Yeah, 4 to 1, absolutely. With, 55 minutes, give or take, before they spring the latch. You would think he's going to come down and maybe vie for favoritism here with the 8. You go, I go. You've got the 4 Friendly Wager, who's run okay on the dirt, and clearly there's some early money for the first Francisco D'Angelo horse, the 7, the Incomodo. Who knows what to do with the horse who debuted on the turf and was a gazillion to 1.
Yeah, well, see, I think that's one bet right now. We'll see what happens a little later on.
$5 win bet?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Very early in the wagering. I'm not going to guess on that.
All right, let's move on to the second. We head to the turf. And obviously the turf, a big part of the game, an equation on this Getaway Friday card as we go the 5 with this $35,000 to $30,000 claimer. And as I noted quickly in the early pick 5 sort of summation, the pace here with the 3R Boy Bodie, I think, eclipses any other pre-race angle. Is he able to, and I think he's going to be the speed of the speed, which is why I picked him, hoping he can get around the 1, Damiano, who's coming in from the West Coast, and the 6 Royal Duke, who I thought would run well. If there is a pace, though, Ronnie, and I'm just quite simply incorrect, or even if there's not a duel, Mr. Edgar should run a big race there for Joe Orsino.
Yeah, our Bodie boy, just to touch on that horse again for second beaten favorite in 3 consecutive turf sprints. So I tried him beat again with the 7, Mr. Edgar, expected to show more. Second outing over the course, which I like. Track the pace, finished 3rd at this level and distance. Joe Orsino, Paco Lopez. Our boy Bodie just seems to, hang a little bit in the stretch there. So, I mean, if this one gets loose on the lead, because that's the way.
That's what I'm banking on. If he doesn't get loose, you're probably looking at potentially another low odds type defeat. I think his best game is when he's on the point, and I'm hoping he can get around the 1, Damiano, who's the wild card here, no doubt, coming in for Bob Hess.
Yeah, faced better in the only previous race on the turf at Santa Anita. Debuts locally for Bob after, with the speed needed really to overcome the pitfalls associated with that inside draw today. I just think this horse, to me, is going to look our boy Bodie right in the eye. I just think that those two will set it up for a horse like Mr. Edgar. Would I leave him off my ticket? No.
All right, so Ronnie 7-3-1. I'm going to go 3-6-7. I did, although the Michael Yates horse, Royal Duke, is facing a lot better compared to his turf race a couple of starts back. I liked his maiden win quite a bit there beneath jockey Miguel Vasquez. We take a little breather, Ronnie. First 2 down. We've got the Stronach 5. We've got the Rainbow 6 and the late pick 5. So a quick calculation, we may be down about $300 when the show's over. Hopefully not. Stay with us, everybody. PegasusWorldCup.com for your tickets, January 25th of 2020. It's crazy, Ronnie. We're on the cusp of a new year being 2020, and what a weekend change that'll be here locally in South Florida when you think of the fourth running of the Pegasus World Cup and then the Super Bowl the next Sunday.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild time and a great time. So the Pegasus World Cup has just been a fantastic addition to the racing here at Gulfstream Park. It's just been so much fun. We got to see some of the greatest horses in the world in those first couple of runnings.
And Omaha Beach, although still very early and a lot's going to happen between now and late January when those fields are assembled for the dirt and the turf. Happy to read that Omaha Beach plans to make his final career start in the Pegasus World Cup dirt. Stronach 5, meanwhile, will start things out. Race 8 shortly before 3:45 later on this afternoon in the 8th at Laurel Park. In fact, Laura with a doubleheader, as is the case with us right here in Miami Gardens. Proud at Gulfstream Park West, having races 6 and 8 in the sequence. And I do like, Ronnie, I know, and we'll bring up your ticket out at Golden Gate Fields. It is usually, and we don't know the horse population all that well out in Northern California. I like that the one race from Cali today is a maiden special weight, so it does look like a pretty decent field.
Yeah, I actually did go with a couple of first-time starters, but it kicks off in Laurel. I went too deep with the 4 Bucked Toot and Always Forgiven ticket, a big drop this afternoon. Now, when I put my ticket together, originally I had the 6 Cause for Pardon and Notorious Nick, but I had to go back and add Face of Victory. Why? Paco Lopez is the answer there. So I went 3 deep in there. Then back to Laurel. I went with Daper's Drink and Dinah's Night. I wish I could have gone a little deeper. As I was mentioning, in California, went with 2 first-time starters there, Miss Riley and Dynasty of Her Own. Like the last race in our sequence, our race 8, I went 1, 2, and 7.
And in fact, in the last race, I'm just going to stand alone. If I'm right, I'm going to do it my way, singling. I'll do it my way. And the nightcap there for Ron Spatz. Really, really, really like, and I hope it's more than just quite simply an aesthetic case on paper. I like that horse's turf pedigree on both the top and the bottom. Going to anchor a $48 play in which the race you wanted to go or wished you could have gone maybe a little deeper in that 9th race at Laurel Park. I'm using a 4-horse spread there, Ronnie. To me, that just underscores how difficult that race is, and basically a 2x3 the remainder of the way. So we'll have the Stronach 5 coming up at about 3:40 this afternoon with race number 8 at Laurel Park, and we transition. And although you have that $100,000 guarantee in the Stronach 5, which is amazing, I mean, you've got $1 million plus up for grabs when it's all said and done in the Rainbow 6.
Yeah, I'm going to show you my ticket now, $57.60. So as I was mentioning, you have your single in there. I went 4 deep. I was just really confused with the race 3. I mean, Tangible is absolutely the one to beat. I used Accountant Q, Mr. Sense, and Blue Sky Kitten because I kept looking back and say, what did I miss with Blue Sky Kitten? So I added that horse. Then 2 deep in race number 4 with Budget Buster and Appraised, and then going to race number 5, Biandetti, Pirates Treasure for me, and Oscar Blues. And then in race number 6, I went with Notorious Nick and Cause for the Pardon. I think those are the logical 2 in there. My best bet today comes in race number 7, and it's the one Amelia Madeline, who's back in the claiming ranks for Rohan Crichton, Jeffrey Sanchez in there. So I used that one. I didn't single in there. I used Sade too. Now, the horse in late race number 8, my long shot of the day, which I don't think it's going to end up, is the 2. I'll do it my way. Queen of God and Maricopa on my ticket.
For Jose Pinchin down inside. That horse did run pretty well in his turf debut last time out. He'll get a little more ground to play with this afternoon. And that's kind of the equation here, transitioning back to this opening leg of this final Friday Rainbow 6, a 3-lifetime 6250 claimer. It's a case of the 5 Tangible getting 2 turns and ultimately showing here on the dirt to boot whether or not he can stretch out off a very good-looking win. And here it is last time out about 4 weeks ago at 7 to this 2-turn 1-mile distance. I look at just positives, though, Ronnie, with how confident, and I had liked the 10 in this race, who ran well. That was 2 pops. And I'm watching him, and I'm looking at Paco, basically from the 3/8 Paul Home, sitting on a ton. And, I mean, for this horse, new barn for Peter Walder to run as well as he did last time out, I just think Peter's got him in his zone, and maybe he's in the best form that he's been in quite some time.
Well, he's stepping up to the next level, which we know that was 2 a lifetime to 3 a lifetime. And if he can handle the 2 turns, he's going to be very dangerous. Peter does an excellent job, as you mentioned, and Paco just in that zone. So, I mean, I used the one in here where I thought might have a chance, and that's Accountant Q, who's going to depart from the rail and step up to this level that we're talking about. Duel throughout, was really game last time out to defeat those non-winners, the 2 lifetime claimers at this distance is what I like. Mr. Sense and Blue Sky Kitten, I didn't know what to do with, so I added it to my ticket. Didn't want to get knocked out in the first leg.
He's got perhaps a little speed. He's down in class, the 4 Blue Sky Kitten. But, again, just looking at the race and the program today, I ultimately felt Tangible was the real centerpiece. You obviously agree. We'll see how the 4 Blue Sky Kitten runs. I've got him split anyway with the deuce, Mr. Sense, and my exacta. We move on to the 4th. We get back on the turf, and this might be, well, close to our biggest field so far, as after scratches, we've got 7 ready to rumble in this 2-year-old 50K maiden claimer. 2 deep to start, and without the 5 Indy ride, who I wasn't in love with, but with him out, I think this race distills down to the 4, the dropper I'm More Ready, and the horse Reclaim by Mike Baker in the 7 Budget Buster. No singles for me the remainder of the sequence, Ronnie, and that does include the upcoming nightcap. We both like the deuce. I'll do it my way. I included the number 9, B-Wings, who was scratched the other day and off the turf race, I think, if memory serves, from Brendan Walsh.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and that one, I had picked him that day, but I went 3 deep in there. But we're intrigued with that 2 horse in there and do it my way. And I think that we're going to get not 8-1 morning line on that.
Is that horse 8-1 on the morning line?
I think they're going to bet it, just go
no,
the breeding alone.
Yeah, no, by Jack Milton and traces the female family back to Danzig. So there's a lot going on for a barn that's been in fuego here over the last couple of months, and trainer Ronnie Spatz. Again, this 4th race with no number 5 Indy ride, who's a noteworthy early scratch. You've got basically, at least to me, this race may just conflate simply down to the 4, who I picked, I'm More Ready, who's faced just 2 legitimately tough fields and even just good winners in Kokomo or Kokomo. How do you say that horse's name? Kokomo.
Kokomo.
No, there's another
that's
K-O
right.
entered.
Yeah.
It's like a trifecta.
Kokomo.
And King Guillermo. With Christian Torres riding, my top pick, the 4, I'm More Ready. Against the other side, and this is easier for me to pronounce, you've got a Mike Baker Reclaim with the 7 Budget Buster.
Yeah, reclaimed by Mike and going back to the grass today after following a troubled 3rd, a steady late at this level of distance. That race was on the turf, comes back and runs 2nd against those 50 maidens going 7 furlongs. That was that wet track today, listed as good. Paco Lopez handles this horse today. Budget Buster, I had Indy Ride, the 5, in 2nd. I still had Budget Buster on top. I'm More Than Ready. If you go back and look at that last race, was parked 5 wide against those tough horses, so I added that one along the ticket, along with Appraise, who's debuting locally for Ken Squeezy, stretching out to a mile. I think that horse might run well. He ran okay at Delaware.
Yeah, he's a Virginia bred, in fact, who is coming out of an open maiden special weight at Delaware. Good trainer, former assistant, and a key member of trainer Jimmy Jerkin's operation, like Kent a lot, and like Nick Juarez, too. Appraise, no doubt, dangerous. Maybe you're looking at 3rd choice in the wagering with no Indy ride in the mix. Anyway, the 5th race, we hit the main once again. We come up on a race that I ultimately think a lot of people are going to be, maybe not singling, but Bondetti is going to be favorite here. And, looking at this 5th race from top to bottom, nobody, what complicates things as a whole, I think nobody's in really sharp, consistently good form. It's a very modest field, I think, even for this condition. That said, though, of everybody, Bondetti's got speed, and I would say, although he hasn't been breaking the door down per se, his form is a little better than just about everybody else's.
Yeah, moving to Oscar Gonzalez's barn after the claim and stretching out to 6.5. So I looked up a stat on Oscar first after the claim. This is all levels on the dirty. 6 for 23, 26%, 57% in the money. 271 is the return of investment, ridden today by Marcos Meneses.
Yeah, Marcos riding from the inside post. If this race, again, because you just don't have a lot as far as what have you done for me lately going on. If this race turns into a bit of a field that's just bursting apart at the seams when they hit the 8th pole, I think the 3 Oscar Blues, who's been a little inconsistent of late, I thought he might just grind his way into the winner's circle.
Well, if you look at his figs, weight going back. He looks like he's fast enough, certainly, to win in this spot. He's got some good figs. But Pirate's Treasure was intriguing to me. Turning back to this distance, we're talking about a six and a half furlongs. 3 for 4 in the money at the distance. Showed some speed. That was against similar going, that mile and 70 yards. Maybe with the turn back, this horse has proven he could run okay at the distance. Maybe grabs a share.
All right, Safi picked up a win here yesterday afternoon in the second race. I'll tell you, him and Frank Calabrese, although Frank may drop him, I think Safi's really found a nice niche as far as that operation South Florida string is concerned. Now, Calabrese does not own the number 7 Notorious Nick, but I mentioned Safi because he's coming in out of another winning afternoon. 20 victories at the meet, a personal best here in Miami Gardens for Safi, and he'll look for 21, setting out Notorious Nick, who's riding a high right now. This horse so sharp and so good, backtracking to October 18th, and I think the best combination of all here is present on this Florida-bred colt by Captured. He has learned to rate. At one time, he was more of a real speed craze type turf horse who would be at his best and perhaps only at his best when he was on the lead. He's learned to pass horses. He's learned to relax. And you combine that, the fact that he's handy and versatile, with a colt who I still think, not only has he improved over the last 8 weeks or so, I still think maybe there's more to give, and he's yet to hit the ceiling. So that's just a very good, I think, double check mark, if you will, handiness and a horse still on the improve.
Yeah, he was very impressive that day. We picked it up, where we picked it on the turn. If you went it a little further back, he was farther back than that. He really looked impressive winning it. Embassy El Jaramillo will be in the saddle today. We both used the 6 course for Pardo, stepping up, stretching out today, drove clear to beat those optional claimers at the 20 level. Here going 7.5 furlongs. He got an 84 buyer for his effort last time out. Bobby Hess Jr., Nick Juarez going for 2 in a row.
And you've got Hess on the rail. His presence, I mean, he was running horses here and had a, more of a modest-sized string throughout the summer over at Gulfstream Park, but Bobby Hess Jr. has definitely picked up his number of ship-ins and claiming and all that, and he's got the one face of victory from the rail, who we both have third. 7-6-1 for the boys here on the turf as we move on to race number 7 and bring on these 2-year-old filly $20,000 maiden claimers. I think, Ronnie, this might be the most difficult race on today's card. What do you think?
Yeah, it was tough to handicap, and I just thought that Amelia Madeline would run pretty well in this spot, and that's why I put it on the top. But there's different ways to go. I know you wanted to backtrack to Sue's Monster Baby. A pretty good debut for this horse.
Very good debut. And this wasn't a case, and looking at the running line, I wasn't sure if she was able to basically just pocket up and gain ground inside, because she goes from basically in one call from 5th to 2nd. But she did it the hard way. I mean, really kind of sloughing while chasing 3 to 4 wide. This was not a victory at any point. That was just gift wrapped and handed to her. And not only did she launch that 4-wide run, you'll watch her get hooked up at a pretty intense stretch drive here where she's got a filly to her inside, another horse in those blue blinkers to her outside, and she was about as game as Miami Gardens. The size of her heart in this victory for Jorge Navarro. Race didn't come up all that fast, but you know what? To me, this was just a giant effort from a filly who just did not want to lose. Very good first time out.
Yeah, very good first time out. Showed that touch of, strong ability in there. I told you my best bet was Amelia Madeline. I'll tell you why. Back in the claiming ranks after following, I thought a very impressive $16,000 debut maiden victory. Comes back. Little ambitious, goes against those 75 optional claimers, but who's in the race? A horse I know we both think is going to be pretty good, and that's Tonalist Shape. Rowan Crichton, Jeffrey Sanchez Hanley, the inside post going 7/8. It's a concern. Think I might get a little bit of a price, but this one's certainly flattered by running next to in the race with Tonalist Shape.
No, she was very good in Tonalist Shape, obviously, yeah. We hope. I know the Goldenrod at Churchill later this month was on the radar, but I'm hoping perhaps she'll just walk out of her stall on that opening Saturday card in just 8 days. I think it's the Hut for her, one-turn mile, if that's where they do indeed intend on running her. But she's unbeaten and pretty good. You've got Shade in the mix for Zerpa, off a big, didn't beat all that much and was a heavy favorite, but ran well last time out off the claim for Zerpa. And speaking of off the claims, what about Kathy Mungett on the outside? I think with the 7 Joplin, not only only is she a good fit just as far as her ability in her 4 races to this point, that outside post combined with some good numbers for Kathy Mungen off the claim, it's just a pretty good fit there from post number 7 with Christian.
Excuse me, Jason. I did get these horses going to sit a really nice trip there. Kristen Torres will be in the saddle. Got a stat on Kathy Mungen. First after the claim, all levels on the dirt. She's 5 for 26, 19%. And the reason I pulled this because you don't really think of Kathy, you know, what's her claiming record? It's pretty good, 58% in the money and almost a $2 return of investment. So she's been having a great,
real good year.
Real good years in the summer, even at the winter meet last year at Gulfstream Park. She did fantastic. So that horse I had to have on my ticket actually was torn between putting that one second and Chate second. That's how, you know, behind my hope that I hope is the winner in that race.
Yeah, Ronnie and I obviously boxing up the same 4, and even the 2 Fiamma Mama, who did not get included on either of our respected supers. She's got a chance. Very good-looking and very tough 7th race field there in the dirt finale. Now, the actual finale in a race that drops the curtain, in fact, for a last call situation in the Stronach 5 is our 8th race this afternoon. It's a 2-year-old filly, $35,000 to $25,000 maiden claimer. Slow race last time out as far as the figure goes, but a good effort from the 12 Gia. Wanted to backtrack and just pull her race. We already talked about Oscar Gonzalez being very present and very dangerous with some good numbers to boot off the claim with Bondetti in the 5th. And if this race starts to melt down like this eventual field did, the pace horses were nowhere to be found. Gia might, I thought, run a little bit better here as she tries a tougher cast of maiden claimers.
Yeah, just the thing that I backed off, I have it further down my ticket was, you know, the outside post going 7.5 furlongs. But she's got the running style where we won't hinder her that much because she just likes to close.
Definitely. Now, Ronnie Spatz had 2 potential key maidens in today. He scratched the one in the first Skybridge, but he is running the filly in the nightcap by Jack Milton. Here's a little look with the 2. I'll do it my way. As far as the Blue It's Bullets go, she's by a stallion who was pretty good. He might not have been, you know, Goldie Cova per se, but Jack Milton was okay. A grade 1 type level turf miler, and I love the fact that this is a young mare who was 0 for 3 on track. However, she's been very prolific as far as turf-winning foals have gone. 2 of her siblings have already run. That means I'll do it my way. Ronnie has 2 half-siblings that are already turf winners.
Yeah, and I just thought this horse, you know, that's why I put this horse on top of my ticket. Really bred, as you just said, put there, Jason, on both sides to run well on the turf. And I like the fact that this horse has a decent race on the main track going to the turf. So do it my way. I used the 7 in second, and that is Queen of God, who drops to the 35 level, removes the blinkers. Chased last time out for Alexis Delgado. Santiago Gonzalez handling I like to turn back to 7.5 furlongs with the 7 Queen of God.
And Christian Torres pilots the 1 Maricopa, who you've gotten 3rd from the rail as Christian looks to gain. He's 2 behind Paco as we come down to the 3rd to final program. Ronnie and I, in the meantime, with all of you throughout the afternoon from our GPW Clubhouse studios, our man upstairs, Jason Beam, standing by with those scratches and changes.